But hi, Gerhard.
Hi, Sanders.
Today we will speak about your piece, When Night Sits on the Table. Can you just briefly give background of the piece, when it was written, for whom it was written, and who commissioned it?
Yes, the piece is written in '92, and it was commissioned by the famous singer Carla Henius, who worked with Luigi Nono for a long time, since the '60s. And she was the head of the Musiktheaterwerkstatt, music theater workshop at the Hessische Staatstheater in Wiesbaden. And she asked me to write a piece for clarinet and bass clarinet, and including her as a speaker or singer. And so I did, and I asked her also. I started to work on this piece, and I was looking for a text, and she recommended a text from South America, because I asked her. I wanted to have a link to this continent, because I was very interested in poetic um, poetic life in Brazil and other countries. And she recommended to contact the expert in Latin American literature, Kurt Meyer Claesson. And I did so, and he sent me some poems, um, which I actually used afterwards, as I did use the text O MURO by Pedro Tierra in another piece. And for Die Nacht sitzt am Tisch, I used the poem O estranho, in German Der Fremde, or in English the foreign person. I don't know exactly the English translation. So and the poet is the black writer Oswaldo de Camargo, and he lived at that time in Brazil. Maybe he still lives. And so the poem actually is a monologue um, of a farmer to a landowner. And he reflects his situation compared to a landowner who is living far away from the working spaces that the worker experience working for him in the daily life. And he also reflects, he is has a very, how do you say, rough face, and has is really signed by the work under a very harmful sun. And so he is um, burnt by the sun, of course, and compares it to the pale face of the landowner. And this I didn't use all the text of the poem, but in another sense I used everything, because I transformed the poem into Morse codes, which is designed by short and long, or long, short, long, and so on. And I used this because it's a kind of encoded message to insiders. So he the poem actually also reflects not only the view of the single farmer, but he reflects the situation of all the farmers in the same situation. So I transformed the text into music, and the fortune of this kind of transforming the text into music allows a lot of freedom, because I can define short and long as I want to do. So it can be very short or shorter or whatever in comparison to long and longer. So I'm very flexible with rhythms, and also this avoids to march, as you don't get a stiff kind of attitude throughout the piece. But I can also be very precise in the relationship between short and long. It can be 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or whatever. And you can also define a derived you also can define the structures of the formal structure that can be derived from the text as well.
Yes, and there was some scents used, right? Some smells.
Yes, and this also you can find in the poem, because he sweats, the farmer sweats, and it's the smells are which are used in the piece are expansion expansion of the text. So you can imagine a farmer who works, is sweating, and would actually stinks in the evening, but the landowner can also always be with perfumes and whatever. And so I included smells in this piece. Um, maybe first I would tell you something about the structure of the piece first, and then I include the smells in this structure. So I describe the basics of the composition, and in the piece I start with very fast and strict rhythms, and combined with these very strong and how do you say, forceful attitude, with placing garbage sacks in the audience around the performance space, and they are closed still. They wait when the audience is coming into the performance space, and they see the garbage bags standing in between the rows and everywhere. And when the instruments are starting, the speaker opens them and let the smell or odors out of the garbage sacks, and you can also spray a kind of sweat smells or odors. And this happens at the beginning of the piece, and then the piece develops into a kind of melodies, and at that time the speaker closes these garbage sacks, and it's the smells from the garbage is not ending because it is distributed in the performance hall, but at the same time when the speaker closes the sacks, she or he sprays smells of flowers, fruits, and trees everywhere when she closes the garbage sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so the actual music is getting melodious after finishing this action. She plays with a rain stick, which is also taken from the South American music, and then the music gets harsher and harsher, while the smells are very, very energetic or something like
Mm-hmm.
lifting up your mind. And at first the music of the two clarinets is very high and very energetic, very nerve wracking, and then suddenly there is a break using metal buckets filled with marbles, and the singer throws these marbles into another metal bucket, and a very strong, noisy sound is coming from a synthesizer or cassette recorder. It should be. I really want to have these devices because it should be very harsh and very rough. And then it goes on, and then the singer speaks just a small section from the poem, and while she is speaking the poem, come to eat my bread, bread, and you land over, you don't know where I am, you don't know where I am, look at my face, it's like copper, rough, roughed, it's not a good English, but roughed by sun and burns, and see my world, eat from my bread. And this is accompanied also while the clarinets play, and with a foot, with one foot, they move it in a metal bucket with marbles. So it's a very delicate sound. And then it continues, and the clarinet players also sing into the instrument, so that the instrument itself is also producing sounds that are always somehow broken. And it moves on to a kind of song with 4 voices, clarinet plus voice, bass clarinet plus voice. And then the singer says, the knight is sitting at the table. She is my acquaintance. The Angst, what is Angst? The fear or is my servant. I invite you, my lenders, to eat from my bread. And when the singer had said that, this rough noisy sound from metal buckets and synthesizer comes again for very short time, and then it breaks, and all the 3 are playing from the metal buckets, and they take the marbles and they play, let fall the marbles in a special, very free and loose rhythms. And this sound is, while you have still the wonderful smells from fruit and flowers, it sounds like machine guns.
Mhm.
So you have a transformation throughout the piece, from garbage, which is very, very ugly smelling, and to a very bright surroundings, and music gets harsher and harsher at the end.
Yes,
So
isn't
that's the basic development of the piece, and
yes.
together with the smells.
And what I say understand, right? As piece evolves, there is a bigger discrepancy what smells communicates and what music communicates. Is it
Yes,
per se, and what kind of effect to the audience you want to create by this?
What kind of?
What kind of impact or what kind of experience by let's say more uplifting, right, sense, as you said, to more harsher music? What was the main?
Yeah, because this belongs again to the content of the poem. The farmer reflects his situation and invites the opposite of him, um, who has a completely different life, and of course the farmer knows there should be a solution. We can't live longer, and he offers a talk to the person who exploit him. But maybe there is only a solution to fight. And this is the situation. You have this overwhelming smell with fruits and flowers, but the situation of the person who talks to somebody who exploits and doesn't answer is a contradiction. And I wanted to show this contradiction between the smelling sounds, I say, and the musical sounds.
Good. And are there one main central message in the piece which you want to like to send to the audience?
That's always very difficult. You know, the audience is so complex, and also the music has its structure. The text has its structure, and I think the orders used and smells used in this piece are also very obvious. So each one comes to a performance with his or her background, and but there is also a kind of common, if you are open, a common sense of what's about the smells you get, and the structure of music. So I don't want to tell somebody how to feel or something. This is up to the audience, and as far as I noticed throughout these 30 years of existing this piece, they got a lot of the messages I tried to lay out with smells and music.
Okay, got it. And how long for you it took to create the piece, and what was the main stages you went through?
I don't remember exactly, but I asked for. I started beginning of the 92, so I got this commission and I started to think, and I'm not so sure. Maybe in the I have to look up. I don't know exactly when the world premiere was.
Yes.
I guess it was maybe in September, but
Okay,
well, I can add later.
yes. Okay. And what was the main stages to how you started and
Well, I always start with thinking of. Well, let me start again. My basic attitude to create a piece is I'm looking for the content, and then I ask in brackets the content what material I would need.
Mhm.
And so I make sketches, sketches on the text I use, and musical sketches, and then also how can I use the space where this piece will be created, and how the musicians has to interact, and so on and so forth. And this I put together, and when I have all the material, I start continuously on working on the piece. So I put everything together, and this is the method I use throughout also other works. That's completely different, for example, to Lachenmann, Helmut Lachenmann. He has a certain kind of musical language which he uses and present different contents, or Boulez also. He has a language and creates whatever he wants to say with his specific language. But for me, it's the other way is better, to look for the means that are needed by a certain theme.
Got it.
This text for me needed including smells.
Yes.
As
And
well.
why you
Yeah,
think?
as I already said, there is a description of the situation of the farmer, and of his face, and what he eats, and so on. And if I use a text, I want to maybe complete the text, which goes beyond the actual words or so. And for me, it asked for including smells in this case.
And how you choose particularly those smells?
Hmm?
How you choose those smells?
How you choose?
Those particular smells. You said that
Yeah, that's depending on the text too. So I have a variety. For example, in spices, I proposed coffee, onion, and thyme, and all this. Or in another a piano piece, I proposed Mediterranean kind of smells from herbs and so on. So I selected these main smells in this piece: garbage, sweat, odors, and flower, fruit, trees, and so on for this piece. You always have to take into account that a smell is in the space and stays in the space for a while. So it's different to musical sounds. Musical sounds can change very quickly, but the sound, the smell is there. If you put it in a, and you have to how do you say, to put stronger smells upon smell which is there.
Yes.
So if you have, for example, and I did like this. So I use these flower and fruit smells mostly with sprays, and they cover the old smell. And in spices, for example, I propose to use first smells from dried or fried onions, for example, and thyme and so on, and then at the latest stage coffee, because coffee is mostly so strong that you don't get an idea what smells were there before.
Right. And when you bought those smells which you use for this piece, or or some perfumer made, how it was when you get those smells?
And
you bought or those smells which were used, or you ordered a perfumer, or
I had actually in the 70s and 80s. There was a German firm. I forgot the name because it doesn't exist anymore. I got perfumes from this firm, and on the advice of the composer Josef Anton Riedel, and I have a kind of basic set of smells, different smells, and later I still have it, but they get rotten also after a while, and but I buy it sometimes, and you can also mix it because you can buy different kinds of flower oils, and these you can mix also jasmine and rose and all. You can mix it by yourself, and so I always have a lot of different smells that I can use and create.
yes. And you said you spray, and you spray with what? It was with a spray similar as that.
Um, Basically, you can buy little bottles with a which you can use also for perfume. And I buy them and mix it, and then I spray.
Got it. Can you imagine the same piece but without smells? What
Yeah, yeah. It's you miss something, of course, and you only get the one basic structure of the piece.
Yes.
But of course, I prefer the entire piece.
And what would be your suggestion to composers? This is the last question to composers who have never used the smells or scents in their pieces, but they would like to start. What would be your?
Yeah, the first advice would be: do I need smells or not? Yeah, and and the second advice is it has to be, there has to be a reason by using smells, and which kind. And then it comes to also, which I wanted to add earlier, you have to think of the space of performing as well. So if you have a, for example, I have an orchestra piece that uses very delicate smells. And if you have an orchestra hall, it's very difficult to use smells in these kind of situation. You have an orchestra, you have a big hall, and how many garbage bags you need? Yeah, 100 maybe, and this would not work in these kind of situations. You need to know how to place a piece in the hall. In this case, with the orchestra and smell, we use the air condition, and so you get kind of mint odors, a mixture of different herbs. Sorry, and we put it in the air condition of the hall. And that worked quite well, because some halls have also air conditioning in the rows, but these wouldn't work, because you need the direct distance to the performer as well. So that's my advice would be: think what you want to do, and then you choose smells, and which smells, and with what kind, natural smells or sprays or whatever. And I must also add the 70s, 60s, and early 90s were completely uncomplicated with doing this. But now the people get allergies and whatever, and they fear being polluted and poisoned and whatever. So the anger of threats and whatever is very strong. So you have to ask using smells. You know, it's a crazy time. You have to ask people, does my music harm you, or does the smell harm you? I would say just experience, and don't let you let the measure be anger.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Gerhard.
Yes, thank you.